Hi, Pratna and Nikita. This is Christina from The Upcoming. So lovely to speak with you today.
Lovely to meet you.
To start things off, would you like to share what Picture This is about and what audiences can expect going in?
Picture This is about a young woman who runs a sort of struggling photography business who realizes as she's preparing for her younger sister's wedding that an astrologer makes a prediction that in the next 5 days she's going to both possibly meet the love of her life, but also find a way to save her business. Out of desperation, she kind of goes along with it. And it's all of the hijinks and humor and chaos that ensues while she figures out what she really wants.
Yeah, that pretty much explains it. It's a story about family and how the individual desires may be in conflict with the desires of the family, but also maybe you can all work together. So it's a wedding film, but with a difference. It's not the wedding of the main protagonist.
And what sparked the idea for the film?
It's a remake of an Australian film. But the really interesting thing is that when Nikita came on board and she adapted this film, she brought in a lot of her own personal point of view, things that happened in your own family and relationships.
Yeah, I was interested in how you can have a very warm family where everybody loves each other, but everyone's got very strong opinions about how you should go about your dating and what your dating life might look like. So I look back to my periods of dating and how everyone, my parents and sibling and everybody, friends used to get involved. And so it's about navigating that and trying to have your career and have artistic freedom at the same time as finding love.
Pia's job is a photographer instead of running a tea salon. Pia's photography studio also plays a big role in the film. What inspired the decision to make her a portrait photographer? And what was it like directing scenes set in a studio environment?
It was actually Simone who wanted to make her a portrait photographer, and I thought that was a brilliant idea. And I think it really brings a new level of ways of seeing to the whole process. So there's a kind of metaphor at play that's quite strong, that's about looking at the world through the lens and living authentically, living your own life rather than looking at it, that has come about, I think, because of that switch.
When I went to my first meeting with the producers, I had prepped my pitch about her being an Ayurvedic tea stall and then owner. And then they said, what if she was a photographer? Because it was an idea they were floating. And to me, honestly, in the meeting, I thought it was a great idea. So I was coming up with ways in which, we could adapt the script to work. Because the thing that I loved about her being a photographer is that she didn't have to be indoors. We could take her job outside, so it gave us this opportunity to go get into the city of London and set scenes outside, which I think is, was a lot of fun for me as a director, because we got a lot more visual mileage in the film.
What do you think makes a good romantic comedy, and how did you apply that to Picture This?
That's a great question. I think it has to have an equal measure of humor and heart. And I think it has to feel like relatable, but there has to be some, moments where you're like, yeah, something like that has happened to me. Because let's be honest, everybody's dating life is pretty crazy. All of us have had at least one or two experiences where we were like, did that just really happen to me? And I think people can relate to that. But also like really looking at the challenges of opening yourself up, and I think, and in this film, she not only has to do that with her dates, but also with her family and friends and her sister and her mother. And I think making sure that all those, moments feel authentic and real and are grounded is important because there's humor, but there's also a lot of like heart. So there needs to be a balance of both, I would say.
Great romantic comedy starts with the dialogue. It's all about the bants. And there's a lot of sexual, romantic, other kinds of tension going on in the dialogue.
That's good.
And a really good romantic comedy also provides a kind of catharsis. Like you can live a whole lifetime in those 90 minutes or 100 minutes. You can get to a point where you feel like the world's been exploded and put back together.
Thank you. Thank you so much.